a lot of creators, their most viewed video is like the video that they might not like be crazy about and they might not agree with the most.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's the one that's drawing in the most people. And so that creates this conflict of interest. So is that the same with you? Or?
Yeah, so like my most popular video, at least on like, because I'm more like, right now, like my YouTube numbers are ass, but my TikTok numbers are like great.
That's good.
So like,
that's good.
like, like even though like I make long form content, like I just chop up on TikTok. So, but my most popular stuff was like a video I did about Michael Jackson. So like, I'm Congolese.
Yeah.
And like, Congolese people love Michael Jackson to death.
Yeah. When you open with that, it like go.
Yeah. So I did a video about how in my house like because obviously like we don't like Congolese people don't speak English, like they used to like butcher Michael Jackson lyrics, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And that was literally just like a loose. I edited that like in like 30
the
minutes
ones that you don't even think of.
And I was like, do you know what? Just for the sake of algorithm keeping consistency, let me upload it.
Popped off.
Popped off. Like my phone is blowing up. Then I upload on Instagram. Instagram's like slow with the traction, but within a week, like 100K. I'm just like, bro, like on Instagram it ended up getting like 1 million, and like on TikTok it got like 600,000. I was like, this like obviously it's a fun video, and obviously it's showing a bit of my culture, but then now people expecting my page to be like a comedy page.
Yeah, nah, them ones.
And then it was like this was just a funny conversation, but my page isn't a comedy page.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
So do you feel like sometimes like boxed in by the content almost?
Nah.
By what popped off? Because that can happen to a lot of creators where it's like, and then it's a constant replication process.
Do you know what? And obviously this is probably why the algorithm doesn't like me too much. I just do what I want.
You gotta let the algorithm not like you, because one day it's gonna like you.
Yeah, I let that like sometimes like bro, I did a video on 90210 and it did like shit, but I was like, do you know what? Like I want to talk about 90210 one day. Like teen dramas, like, why not? Like, yeah.
And it's hard. It's hard to strike that balance sometimes too, because it's like there's even times where I want to do something different. So I want to play games a lot more.
Yeah.
To be honest, on the channel. Right? Literally, I'm working on a game. So it's like one of those ones where it's like, obviously it's like, what blows up tends to be like a part of who you are, right? A part of your interest, but it's not all you are.
Yeah.
And when you're trying to do the thing that you want to do, it's like, it can be kind of hard.
You get boxed in.
It's so easy to do. Even the FD, everybody, like, they all talk about it, where it's like, I have to make these videos first before I can risk it.
Yeah, I remember FD was talking about like he gives himself like one wild video to do, then he would do like
a lot of people do it,
like the political videos and stuff like that.
Yeah,
because like that's why even when I met you, I made sure to be like, you're not a Boondocks content creator, because it's like because I know like obviously I know that's the content you're known for, but like I know like I've seen that you've made a concerted effort to like branch out. And you're just more than one thing in it. It's like, you're the Boondocks nigga, do the thing.
Nah.
it's like in shit, do the raw. Do the thing.
Nah, man. People look at me, they're expecting the afro. They're expecting like...
The dashi,
the dashi. They're expecting, Dewey, like...
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah,
like that. They're expecting that. And then they see it's like, oh, it's just some guy.
It's just a regular guy.
Some regular black British guy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel like sometimes like... Obviously, like most of your content's video essays, so like we don't really see like your personal life. But when people know you make content, do you feel like you have to live up to their expectations of you? To like, because sometimes, because like your content's super like analytical and critical, and you like dissect stuff. So like, do you feel like people have this expectation of you to be that 24/7?
Sometimes, yeah, and I feel like I have to proactively demonstrate sometimes that like, no, I'm still the same. Like, I'm still dumb. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but like not in the. It's just like a facet of who I am,
Yeah,
like it's obviously these are like things I value and care about, but like like sometimes friends would be like, oh yeah, man, like I know you have something to say about this, Dave. It's like, nah, not really.
No, I don't.
Not really.
I don't.
Yeah.
So like obviously, like I think obviously one of the videos that went viral, I told you earlier, was like my Kendrick Drake analysis on TikTok.
Yeah, that was popping. For a period, everyone's making a video about it.
And I saw a lot of good content creators make, even from the UK, make like good stuff about it.
Yeah.
But obviously, like that one did well for me. But then every time I saw the man, them, yo, what do you think about the Drake and Kendrick? You talk to them like you spoke on TikTok.
Nah,
I'm just like, bro, it's like it was like either like some of my man them who love Drake were like, come. Let's have a debate. I'm like, bro,
fam,
can we relax?
That's a big one too.
Can we relax?
There's a big idea. It's like, Oh, so you got opinions like
Yeah.
online. So let's get into a
Let's
debate.
get into it. And it's like, man, I'm
and it's
trying
like
to chill.
that's also a big thing with that. And I think not a lot of people deep this. And I imagine it's probably the same with you. You put so much thought and effort into that content that's very like analytical and like whatever, right?
Yeah.
That when you're done with it, like you've put it out there,
Leave
like,
it.
actually I don't want to talk about that all the time.
Leave
now.
it.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's a thing. I'm sure you get this where obviously, like, let's say like a video of yours does super well, and obviously you're getting like compliments and plaudits for the video, and you love that. But then you don't want to spend your time talking about the video because at some point in time, it's like you've spoken about the video for so much. It's like thank you, and it can come across as conceited, but it's like, bro, I've had to live with this shit.
Yeah, nah, like it's been following me forever.
Yeah. So it's like, and do you know what it is? I never understood it until I became a creator.
Yeah, nah.
Like, cause for a long time I used to watch creators and be like, oh, like why do creators get tired of their work? And sometimes I'm like, yeah, I get it. It's not that we don't love it, we love it, but it's like for us, like we create it, we put it out, and then we're on to the next one. But with the audience, you guys like live with it.
Yeah, no, I get it, and I even want to feed into that point. I feel this way with artists a lot, right?
Yeah.
So oftentimes we find ourselves getting caught. I know we might want to get into J. Cole at some point.
Yeah.
I know oftentimes artists get caught up, and I could be like this with them, where it's like, man, some of your old stuff was better. Man.
Better.
In fact, again, spoiling some J. Cole takes, but that's me,
Yeah.
But like, obviously, imagine you're an artist. You can't make the same kind of thing for 10 years straight. You'll go crazy. You'll go crazy. And as much as I'm holding on to like, yeah, man, that 05, that 06, that whatever, right? Like, you as a person, like, because there are artists that do that.
Yeah.
And, okay, a good example is like, the one I always go for is Talib Kweli.
Yeah.
But you know about Talib Kweli?
Yeah.
Obviously, get by, but like, I mean, eventually you make all your albums that, like, you know, no one's...
Everyone wants you to do Black Star.
Yeah, not even just that, but it's like... So his whole thing is kind of that. It's that whole conscious, it's the struggle, this, that. But it's like, if that's all you're selling, like, do you know what I mean? Or if that's all you've done throughout your whole career, and there's no interesting angle you want to go with it, it's like, you know, eventually people get bored of that. So, like, I feel like a big reason artists also change and content creators is because also, like, I can't make the same video all the time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I can't talk about this thing so I can't talk about the Boondocks all the time.
Yeah.
I could, but I can't. Do you know what I mean?
I was big up wrestlings. I was a part of a wrestling podcast.
Oh, fam. I need to chop up about that.
Yeah, no. But like, but I was, see, like, I'm like if it was people would call me a hipster, like, I'm not a WWE fan. I'm like,
are you AEW?
AEW, New Japan, all of that type. I'm that type of guy.
Yeah, you're that guy.
I was that guy. So I was the guy, yeah, but because like I'm in a minority, I was in the trenches, just fighting wars. But then I think it came a point where I don't want to say the audience, but I thought I just got tired of it.
Yeah,
I just got tired of it. I was like, you know what? I'm tired. I'm tired of just like being one note. Do you know what I'm saying? When it comes to like stuff, and I feel like as content creators, that fatigue can get to
wanes in.
Can wane into yeah, for sure, man, for sure. But yeah, man, let's get into it, man. Is we live? Yes, you're now tuned into the Rare Podcast. I'm your host with the most, NK, aka the man of the hour, too sweet to be sour. And of course, I'm always joined by a special guest. This is someone I've wanted to chop it up with for a very long time. We don't have many video essayists in the UK. You don't have many video essayists from London, black video essayists from London. But today, we've got a very special guest, my bro. Introduce yourself. Tell the people who you are and what you do, man.
That was a strong introduction, can I just say? I was already... my favorite part about this whole process, fam, with all of these things, it's just like, seeing people jump into the mode. I love it, fam. It's my favorite thing to do. It's like, the camera's on, let's go. All right, cool. Yeah, obviously, I'm David, yeah. I'm the storyteller. I make a bunch of videos on YouTube, video essays. I'm also a game developer, so I'm working on a Black British video game. And I do some mutual aid on the side through Huey FOODBANK. Yeah, no, obviously. Like, excited to be here, obviously.
Yeah, no, it's a pleasure, man. It's a pleasure, man. Like I said, like I told you earlier, I've been watching your content for a minute. And it's a conversation that we started having, but let's have it now.
Yeah, no, we are
like, the video essay scene, obviously, big up FD, big up Foreign, big up Ole, like big up even Tunerific Tariq, big up all of them, man. He's cold. But a lot of being like a video essayist, like from the UK, but speaking about a show like Boondocks, which is obviously very much tells the stories of like African American
Yeah.
culture. How was that for you? Because I feel like I was glad to see like a video assist about like doing stuff about Boondocks. But when I heard you were British, I was like, oh my god, that's sick. But so there's multiple questions. How did you even like decide to pick up a mic and said, you know what? Let me write some shit about Boondocks.
This is a long story. First of all, I'm gonna open with a lot of people. There's quite a few people that hate it. They'll click the video. They'll be like, "Who the hell is talking?" And they'll leave the comment that's like, "British niggas shouldn't be talking," and then they leave. So I want to stress that some people are crazy about it. So that's
I can imagine.
With the Boondocks, yeah, I think I was like 13, 14, secondary school times. And I remember my friend Basit, he came up to me and said, David, you'll love this show. You'll love it, right? And this is how he sold it to me. He just said, it's niggas and fighting. You'll love it.
Yeah.
Right? Obviously, that's like surface level appeal.
Yeah.
Like to get you in as a young kid, innit? So I started watching it. And then I started to I was like, hey, this show actually has something to say.
Yeah.
It's kind of cold. And then it kind of evolved into and obviously because I was like black, I've been into like nerdy stuff, what have you. I was like, creator here is kind of like, it's kind of unique.
Yeah.
Almost, right? Like, got
You
more
got
combat in here.
You got MF Doom in the background. Anime inspired animation.
Anime inspired, hip hop inspired. Like he's got it all kind of in there. Do you know what I mean? So then I started to research the creator more. I'm like, oh, this used to be a comic strip. I read all the comics. I went on like, I'm the type of guy I can hyperfixate. I'm like, I don't need to just get into this thing. I need to understand everything about how this was made because like it inspired me to tell like stories and be like outspoken and what have you and be critical of the things I was even seeing. And so because it had that influence on me and I spent so much of like my early teenage years listening to like lectures and reading interviews from the creator. And I went online and here's the thing, everyone would just say like Boondocks is so cold. It's so cold. It's so cold. It's so, and then they'll start saying it's so deep. It's so intellectual. It's so like, will mess with your head.
Yeah.
But there were no videos about it.
Yeah.
And if there were, like, they were very like, how do I word it? Like, it would just be like very surface level. It's like, yeah, you know, that R. Kelly episode is crazy. Do you know what I mean? Like, or the Martin Luther King episode is crazy. And it's not to say that those episodes aren't cold, but more to say that, like, I think there's so much more you can say about this show.
Yeah.
So much more you can say about, like, Boondocks, man. And to me, I wasn't seeing that. And I realized, similar to what we were talking about before, you got to make the thing that you want to see.
Yeah.
And because it had such a big effect on me and the way I turned out, and all that stuff, I was like, I have to talk about this. And until like I reach a point where I'm online and I feel like people are talking about Boondocks in a way that I'm like, oh yeah, no, this is, you know, now this they're making the thing that I actually want to make. That's when I'll stop. But until then, like I'm still gonna keep making it.
Like when I saw your content, like I was like, someone is finally able to like encapsulate the thoughts I have in my head. Because and I have mad admiration for like you video essayists because like you're able to like get your thoughts like coherently
it's hard.
in a succinct way. Where me, I'll go on tangent number 5, tangent number 6, and it's just like it's like. So like when I started seeing your videos and you were like really like breaking down and analyzing like not only just the episodes but the character dynamics, the symbolism of certain characters, I was like that was super appreciated. But yeah, like we don't have to get into it too much, but like obviously like you are British, you are from Eds, and Boondocks is a very much African American show. Did you feel like before you even started making content, were you like apprehensive about the reception you were gonna receive? Or do you just make it and then the reception came? Because I'd say from the comment section, it's mostly positive given the following that you received. I don't want to, you know, fuel Diaspora wars or anything. But like, I feel like the reception...
Let's fuel them. Let's do it. No, because you know what's crazy,
Fuck it.
Sometimes... Okay, I'm joking. Let me be careful.
I'm playing around.
Yeah, nah. Some people clip that.
So, what I hate about it...
I'm not trying to see it.
My
face is on this. Nah.
I
see myself on the timeline. It's over.
I feel you.
Cooked.
I feel you.
Yeah, no. I was just gonna say that sometimes, obviously, like Black British people, they come up to me and they're like, "Yeah, I love the videos," but you need to be meaner. You need to tell them. You need to tell them how they are. And it's like sometimes there's that balancing act in my head because sometimes I'm like, on some days I'm like, "Come on, guys, it's a bit too much of him," and some other days I'm like, "Yeah." I feel the frustration when I see the comments. And so sometimes there's that balancing act between, sometimes I just want to like be like, yo, man. You know, sometimes people piss me off.
I think...
But yeah, it's hard.
I think, I mean, not to get like too bad, But I think the main thing is that what everyone's got to understand is that we're all, unfortunately, victims to white supremacy. And at the moment, people all of us understand that. Yeah, white supremacy has a different shade of paint here and there, but it's still fucking white supremacy.
Like, white supremacy is global.
Yeah.
You know, it's a global system. So it's like, you know, the way, and this goes back to, again, we'll talk about this a bit. I feel like, maybe we did save a lot off camera, but it's like, you know, the way like hyper-Americanization, so much of blackness is framed around the American experience and identity, right? So much so that like literally even, I must have been in Morocco with my girl, and to kind of get my attention, they're like, hey, Jay-Z, hey this, hey that. And it's like, because the idea of blackness is, or at least Western blackness, whatever, right? In pop culture is these black American figures, you know? So it's like, when people hear these voices or see these people that aren't representations of blackness that they've seen in the media, which is its own messy thing, because even that is like an exaggeration.
It's an exaggeration, but it's a way of like almost commodifying like blackness into one thing where like blackness isn't rigid. Blackness is very much all encompassing. There are different like even we're seeing it most recently in pop culture with like the introduction of Afrobeats in I can't remember what, I think it was the VMAs, and they gave Tyler an Afrobeats award.
Yeah, Tyler's been popping off.
Tyler's been popping off, but then
the controversy with her, innit?
Yeah, it's not even the controversy with her, but it's like Afrobeats and Amapiano, even though Amapiano are two different genres.
Yeah.
And I remember on the Breakfast Club where Thames was at, they were like, oh, Afrobeats is an African genre, it's specifically Nigerian. Yeah. And then Amapiano South African. So even when it comes to like black cultural exports, they all trying to homogenize it into one thing.
But you can't really do that.
Because even the idea of American blackness, like America, like it's regional. Like somebody from Louisiana isn't the same as somebody from New York. It's like regional, but like there's this like black American accent when it's like it's not a thing.
Yeah, it's been, again, you're 100. You hit the nail on the money, nail on the head, right?
Yeah.
Where it's just like there's been this big commodification of black American identity, and the sad truth is, not only do some people like a lot of people in the diaspora build up like believe in it. They feed into it, right? Now, not everyone does, but the people that do feed into it either again like present themselves as greater than or whatever, or maybe look at other black, and that's the scariest part about the commodification of black American identity, right? It's gotten to the point where some people align so much with that commodification, that like dejected, like disconnected idea of black American identity that, you know, white supremacy is putting out, the white media is putting out, right? That they look at other black people and go, nah, you're not black because you're not this commodified idea that I'm trying to adhere to. And that's crazy.
Yeah, so it's cut off.
Yeah, no,
but let me even bring it back to home, yeah. Like when we think about the commodification of black identity in the UK, right? I remember like when I was younger, the whole notion of it wasn't cool to be African.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And then it was kind of like the images, the images of like, when it came to like being black and British in the UK, due to that the Caribbeans getting here like before us, the Windows generation, like black Caribbeans very much formed a lot of what we think of black British identity.
Yeah, they formed the foundations.
But then a lot of the times, and I feel like this was fueled through like media and stuff, a lot of like the representation that the Caribbeans got to like our African parents were like, oh my God, look at these savages, look at these look at these people, uncultured, rabid people, and that low-key bled into like, hey, I'm African, hey, I'm Jamaican. And it was like, bro, when we were in school, there were mini diaspora wars between Africans and Jamaicans.
I literally recorded a video about
and Caribbeans, sorry, not Jamaicans, Caribbeans.
Yeah, no, it's a whole, even that is...
Yeah, it's like, a whole thing, yeah.
Like, I recorded a video about this with Hyphenated J, she's great, and you guys should check it out if you haven't checked it out yet. But like, and I was reading some books about this, and it's interesting because there certainly was that influence from like obviously the white media to kind of go, look at these man, you know, and like pit people against each other. But you know, it's messy because I feel like on both sides there was some misunderstanding, and from what I understand, a lot of it was like parental, right? And the parental fears of, hey, don't hang out with that Nigerian boy.
Yeah, for sure.
Don't be walking around with that Jamaican man and this, that, right? And it's a big element of it is one, I think the fear of the other and playing into that, but also just. Yeah, no, it's not great, man.
It's not great. It's not great, but like the overall point is like I said, I feel like once most people come to understanding of like we are all like in different ways, and obviously it's easy to just say white supremacy. Obviously, I feel like there's deeper conversations to be had, but at base, like, yeah, we are all victims of white supremacy, and like the diaspora wars that we are having online are futile to the overall the overall, like, obviously there's different cultures have different values and stuff, and there'll be cultural differences. But I just feel like in regards to a show like the Boondocks, the reason why like me and you can resonate with it is because we might not live under the same
same power structure.
Yeah, the same power structure, but we recognize some of the iconography, some of the motifs and stuff. We recognize certain these things because there's parallels. I mean, if you look at the history between US and England, you know, where do you think they got it from?
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say that. Like, where do you think they got these ideas from?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They just, they didn't come up with them themselves.
They didn't come up by themselves, you know what I'm saying?
Even like, we speak to policing, like stop and search.
Yeah.
Literally, I feel like every year I was checking like what's the stop and search rate? It just kept going high. It was like, now it's 3 times, now it's 4 times, now it's 8 times, now it's 12 times. I said, wait, hang on a minute. This thing is actually just keeps growing every time, right? So it's like, and obviously there's things to go into with like keep Britain white and just like British nationalism and the pride in that and what that means for immigrants and people that maybe don't identify with white British identity. Yeah. Right? But yeah, no, there's obvious parallels. But I think above all else, the key to the kind of conversation is it's just an understanding, a mutual understanding, and going, yes, there are differences, but we need to listen to each other in those differences. Yeah. Like, we shouldn't associate blackness with an aesthetic, and we shouldn't associate blackness with even a certain voice. Yeah. And it's very easy to do that because of the commodification. We should look at black people as black people, right? And obviously black people with different regional differences, but black people that can inform us and we can learn from about maybe things going on in France or things going on in Italy or whatever, right? It's like it's important to maintain that black solidarity globally, right? It's not just, we're doing solidarity in America and that's it. Yeah. And obviously I'm not saying that's what people are saying, but more to say that, and things are getting better in the media with time. Yeah. But it's more to say that like even that simplification is because of profit. It's easier to sell like
one idea than multiple.
Here's the toy, here's the water. Yeah. Do you get me? I mean, like it's so much easier to do that than to go, all right, so this is Black British and this is Black American, and it's like, how am I gonna sell that to audiences that haven't been exposed to that? Don't focus on selling it. Just communicate, put it out there. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, but that's getting into how like profit intersects into that. It's messy.
It's a messy thing, and like and like Kanye West will say, I ain't got all the answers, but like I ain't got the answers. So, but I wanted to talk to. So obviously, Boondocks is like it's comedic satire, right? Yeah. Do you think people miss the point or miss the satire in terms of like, for example, I remember you brought up a point where obviously the Riley, nigga, you gay, right? It's like a hilarious punch.
That was really good. That was really good. Like, that took me off guard.
Listen, there's certain, okay, I'll say this. There's a date with the beauty warrior, right?
Yeah,
I can quote that episode start to finish.
There are episodes that I can quote
start to finish. Yeah. So, like, yeah, we've both watched the show a ridiculous amount of times. But, like, even that line, right? That on paper, it's hilarious. That's fine. Yeah. But I feel like sometimes people like miss the point that Riley's very much an impressionable child, and he's a product of like the blatant homophobia that he sees in the music he consumes. But a lot of people be like, you're deep in it too much, or you're doing too much. Do you ever get frustrated with sometimes the surface level analysis of like, not even just Boondocks, but like satirized media?
Fam, it's a messy one, because there was a point where I was like, why don't people get it? Yeah. And I do think that sometimes, right? I do think we need to practice more critical thinking in terms of the media we consume. Yeah. And I think satire does demand like a critical lens at whatever you're observing. And not everybody's like been like, I'm not gonna say isn't equipped for that, but like not everybody has maybe been like exposed to that idea. But equally so, sometimes I do look at the showrunners and go, but maybe you guys played into it a bit too much. So it's hard because on one hand, sometimes I want to shake people and be like, come on, man, this isn't what this is about. Yeah. Like, and if you did more research into this or you looked into this more, you would know that. But equally so, like, if a bunch of people, how do I word this, right? Like, I think communication is everything in this. Delivery. Design, everything. Delivery, right? If I get up on a podium and I say whatever thing I say, and half the people get what I wanted them to get out of it, and the other half don't, I mean, maybe I should have communicated a bit more effectively. So I think I'm on the fence about it because on one hand, yeah, audiences need more critical thinking, like in terms of how they engage with satire. But equally so, I think satirists need to sometimes be a bit more clear in how they communicate.
Because I remember I was watching a video essay about BoJack Horseman. I can't remember. I think it was like
BoJack.
Yeah, I was watching a video essay about BoJack Horseman. I'm bad with names, so if I get creators' names,
Cool,
I'm sorry. But the creator of BoJack was basically like, I think in season 3 he put BoJack in like a redemption arc.
Ah, damn.
And then he got a comment about the show from. Oh my God, Epstein. No, not Epstein.
Hey.
Oh, no, not Epstein.
What happened in BoJack Horseman?
No. No. Who's one of these white cancelled people? Oh my God.
Yeah, wow. How are you struggling?
No, because there's so many of them.
Okay, like, I mean, what type of cancelled? Like,
super cancelled. Weinstein.
What? Yeah, sure.
It was Weinstein. I think it was Weinstein. He said, "Oh my God, I really like BoJack as a character."
Yeah.
And then obviously the whole BoJack Horseman's about like it's a massive critique of like Hollywood, and that really made like the writers of BoJack go back and be like, well, if this guy likes this character,
maybe
we've got to like retool and reform some things because they're clearly not getting the message that this is a cautionary tale. Even the episode I referenced earlier, like A Date with the Booty Warrior, right? That's very much a critique of like the prison industrial complex and how like SA and like sexual violence against men is normalized. But that episode,
you know what I mean?
Goes too far in making it way too humorous.
Exactly, and that's
it makes
the messy
it way
part.
too.
Do you know
that's
what
the
I mean?
messy part where it took me like I found the episode hilarious, but from like a point of critiquing the prison industrial system, it kind of falls flat. Because it leans too far in the dehumanization of black men in prison.
Absolutely.
To where it's like, oh no, we laughing. Like we're not laughing and saying, oh, that's bad, we're just laughing.
Because people don't look at that episode and they think about like that speech Huey gives about like, oh yeah, you know, the prison industrial complex is a system situated at the intersection of blah blah blah, right?
Because
like,
nigga, did you say what I was trying to say, but smarter?
That was pretty good. That was really good.
Hey, I told you I used to be an actor, really.
Really good. Yeah, I can see it. I can see you channeled the passion. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, like people don't take that from it. They know like I like you and I want you. Like we can do this the easy. And I'm not gonna go through the whole speech. But people, they gravitate towards that for better or worse because that's kind of the focus. You didn't make that the focus.
Yeah.
Whereas like, okay, here's a great episode that I think gets slept on, right? Because it's in season 3, right? Season 3 is still cool.
I think season 3 is fine.
I love season 3. Is a black president, Huey Freeman. Yeah. Right? The one with the Obama episode. Obviously, we all know what it's critiquing. It's critiquing the hype over Obama coming in and how he's going to change everything. He didn't. But Huey doesn't say anything in the episode.
No.
He doesn't tell you what he's thinking. He doesn't tell you what the audience what to think. But we all leave that episode knowing like, what it's critiquing.
Because the joke, even in that episode, the jokes are very. For example, one of the funniest memes of the episode is Dick riding Obama.
Yeah, I mean, that's bait. But
it's bait. But literally, like the joke, like the satire is literally in the joke.
Yeah,
everyone's Dick riding Obama without critically analyzing his politics just because he's black. Do you know what I'm saying? So I feel like in that episode, like it was a great blend of like, hey, like here's the message, here's this. Laced obviously within the jokes because it's a comedic show, but we're not leaning one way or the other. Where I feel like some episodes, and I think this is just with like media in general. I think as creative, sometimes like we have pitfalls and we lean. Bro. We lean too far one way into the other. Yeah, because I try not to like, because I love the Boondocks. Like primarily, I watched it when I first watched it. It's because it was funny. Like, but primarily, I'm not gonna sit here and say, "Oh my God, I clocked all the political messaging." Like, I didn't. I clocked. No, some of it was mad overt. But I didn't clock it straight away. It took like many rewatches to finally like.
I get you.
Deep dive and stuff. But so like, I understand when people enjoy it from a humor only perspective, but like, there's so much dense material in that. And that I feel like people are missing, and I feel like there's a.
But do you feel like that's because of maybe the way Aaron did it, or do you think that's because people need to like be a bit more thingy about it?
This is cross-referencing, but for example, like the way people react to, like, let's say hip hop, it's like, I want to read lyrics. I feel like there's a layer of, and I don't want to sound condescending or like I'm better than everyone, because I'm a
Do it. Do it. You gotta own it.
Because I'm a J. Cole ass nigga. I don't read that much.
Are you a big J. Cole head? Seriously, like, are you a big J. Cole head? Would you say?
No.
Cool. I was just
I'm
making
not. I was just making a joke about he don't read in it. So
Fam.
Nah, I'm like Ken.
Let me leave the J. Cole. Let me save it. I'm gonna save it.
No. But no, but obviously, fuck, I forgot my point. Making too much jokes, but nah, basically, yeah. Sometimes like I don't want to like beat people over the head with a messaging, but sometimes I'm like, you are missing another valuable component to the work.
Yeah,
and I feel like that like the textual analysis is very important. And I was going back to the point of like, there's like a layer of like anti-intellectualism where it's like people don't want to seem like they're reading into things too much. They just want to enjoy things as like quick consumable content and not really like unpack the layering of the work. Yeah, why are you doing too much? Why you working so hard? It's not that deep, bro.
Yeah.
It's not that deep where it's like fairs, but this shit, I'm not even doing no mad analysis in the episode.
Yeah, also, and I think this feeds into like to me, this is what the Boondocks' overarching message across the strip, the show, reboot that got cancelled, but we ain't gonna talk about that sometimes. Like, I think the overarching message is like, be critical of the media you see,
consume.
like the media you consume. Like, look at it, right, and don't just take it for what it is. Think about it and come to your own conclusions. And I think that, to me, that's the message of the Boondocks. And I do wish, like you said, in the vein of the anti-intellectualism, I do wish more people would be more critical of the things that they're seeing. Yeah, you know, and like not just on a performative level. It's like, obviously, like, look, season 4 wasn't that great, the Boondocks, right? Like, like, oh yeah, so Aaron's not in it, I guess it's bad. But also, like, even the ones he was in, right? Let's focus on season 1 to 3. Let's have a conversation about that. Atlanta or whatever, right? I don't want to get too much into Black American shows, right? But it's like, there's something to be said about a lot of these black shows that are very critical of the black American media and what have you, being written by people that spent most of their life like living in the suburbs, right?
Yeah.
And there's like, you can, do you know what I mean? Like, there's things to think about.
Donald Glover does get a lot of that though.
Yeah, he
Donald
does. But Aaron don't get it.
Yeah, Aaron.
Not to be like, not to send hate his way, but Aaron is immune to it, and that's because, and this goes back to being critical of the media, right? Because something I learned going back, right, was it was Aaron's lawyer with Reginald Hudlin. You know Reginald Hudlin? No. He worked with Bebe's Kids, Proud Family. Yeah, Reginald Hudlin. And so they had the same lawyer. And Reggie was like, yeah, man, we can make Aaron into a real media star. And so there was all this like well executed, like this media campaign, right? Where it was like, yeah, Aaron do an interview, right? And it really pushed Aaron as this guy that was like greater than thou. Yeah. And the Boondocks as this thing that was greater than thou. Now, don't get twisted. The Boondocks is incredible. As an art form, it's incredible. There's so much you can say about it. It has so much of a rich history. But like, you know, that campaign to me is what carries the back of and what also, we're in like, right now. You know? There's
a critique, for example, you mentioned like you brought up a parallel between Aaron McGrew and Donald Glover. A criticism they both share is their depiction of black women.
Oh man.
I think it's quite damning that I go through the Boondocks and like either black women are depicted in these super angelic almost like ethereal ethereal status, or it's the Kumite chick, or it's the hoe, or it's the, like there's never like a nuanced like depiction. And obviously most characters in the Boondocks are like a reflection of something, but at least with the black characters you get you go from literally the intellectual in Huey who sees the world for what it is, to the coon, to the self-hating black man, to the kind of respectability politics following granddad. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it covers, even though each character is an avatar for something, we have multiple avatars. Where I feel like black women in the show are very much put in
they're simplified.
Two binaries.
Yeah, I agree completely. It's the two binaries. It's messy. Oh man, it's really messy. Because I know that it probably wasn't Aaron's intention, but it is I think it's definitely a byproduct of having a lot of the show's writers be men, just to be blunt. right? I think Yamara Taylor, I think the only black woman, she leaves around early season 2, so she doesn't even do most of the seasons. The moment that made me realize that there was a problem with how the Boondocks depicted black women, because back in the day I used to be a bit more like,
lenient,
I'm a bit more lenient, right? Obviously I'm a guy, I got my own perspective, right? I showed my girl, right, and I put on a few episodes. She's like, I didn't like that. She's like, I didn't like that. I was like, why? She's like, well, look at the way they're presenting the girl. Like, do you know what I mean? And I started to actually look at the show a lot more critically because of that. And that's why always like having a different perspective is like really important, right? Or like to get a black woman's perspective is also very important.
For sure.
Because like they can, I think, who was it? Patricia Hill Collins said this, right? Where it's like I think it's called The Outsider Within. And the idea is because a lot of gendered politics and what have you is centered around black men. There's a big focus on men just by virtue of patriarchy, right?
Yeah.
Feminism focuses a lot on white women, and the black liberation struggle, for better or worse, often in my opinion for worse, has centered mainly around black men, despite black women doing a lot of the work. What this does for me, in my experience, and basically what Patricia Hill Collins is saying, is that it puts black women in a very interesting position because they can see things kind of more for what they are.
Yeah.
Because we're more integrated into these systems in a way that black women sadly haven't been. Yeah. And that's really interesting to me. So yeah.
Because even there's something, for example, for even though black men are affected by racism and so on and so forth, they can still benefit from patriarchy.
Yeah.
Where black women are kind of like catch-22 in like both like anti-women and obviously anti-black.
Because you go to the black men, but if they haven't confronted like, you know, ideas of patriarchy or internalized misogyny or misogynoir, it's like you can't find refuge in them.
No.
But maybe you go to the white women, right? And it's like, but they don't understand that black experience, right? And obviously, like I don't think there's value in boxing people in too much, right?
Yes.
But equally so, like that is a frustration. And I think going back to that point, going back to Boondocks, right? I really think the Boondocks could have benefited from that perspective.
Yeah, because I think there's so many interesting. I feel like it would have been interesting to have like a black prominent. It doesn't have to be like a main character, make it a reoccurring character, but like a black female voice with like nuance.
Yes.
With some sort of, and it doesn't have to be. They don't have to be a Huey 2.0 or whatever. Because I think sometimes in Boondocks and also Huey is right. But I feel like sometimes we deify him way too much.
Absolutely.
We deify Huey. It's like, oh my God. He's the
right one.
He's the right one. And it's like,
and we all must be Huey.
And it's like, not necessarily, because Huey's super jaded.
Yeah.
He's super jaded. And I want to say he's full on nihilistic, but he goes
he's a nihilist.
He goes into like nihilism, and it's like, there's some episodes try to reinforce positivity. I can't remember the episode name, but for example, I think one of the most beautiful episodes is when Riley starts painting.
Yeah, I love that.
When Riley started painting, because
he's just watching BET because he's a hater.
Yeah, like Huey, like
he just hate watching BET.
The driving force of positivity in that episode is Riley.
Yeah.
Huey's just doing nonsense.
Yeah, he's just literally hate watching TV and he's becoming a worse person because of
exactly.
You know what I mean? I think the deification of Huey comes from, once again, people always want to find out what the author is thinking, right? They want to find where's the answer here, right? And they jump to Huey. Sadly, I also feel like the show kind of plays into that eventually, because I feel like a lot of more of Huey's flaws are kind of sanded away in the later seasons, right? And he gets it feels like he gets less of a layer. Yeah. To me, he's more there to be like this is really stupid, guys.
I told you so.
Like, I told you so. What I say? Like, that's his energy.
Like in the fundraiser,
exactly. That's his whole bag.
Yeah.
And I think it makes him a lot less interesting as a character.
Yeah.
And I get why they have to do that. Again, the simplification. I think Aaron said even the Boondocks, the show, had a younger black audience than the comic strip, for instance. So I think simplification was kind of his way of kind of appealing to them and getting them to kind of grab onto it. But even still, it's like, you know, it would have been nice to kind of, because especially if you read the comics, right? Huey has more layers to him. He's a lot more childlike. Obviously, there's things out there in the show, but like there's a lot more that you can do with a character like that as opposed to what we got in the show. Yeah, because
he falls into like the black messiah trope.
Yeah. He's literally the the Black Messiah of the show,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Be like, yeah, I'm getting visions. Like,
Yeah.
I had a vision once. It's
Yeah,
just,
yeah, yeah,
Huey,
yeah, yeah.
what you talk about nihilism? I wanted to say the quote. It's like, what was the quote? It's like, the world is a hard and lonely place, and nobody gets anything for free. And you want to know what else? Everything and everyone you know is gonna die. Just for no reason.
Yeah.
Just like,
For no reason.
it's just a little girl.
Yeah.
Like what? For no
Yeah,
reason. And it's
yeah.
just like, yeah, man, I just felt like doing that. It's like, it reminds me of the people that are like, yeah, man, you know, I just keep it real.
Do you
I'm
know
just
what?
so real.
FD,
You know, you're just rude.
FD
You know?
coined the phrase like the Aaron Sorkinism, where it's
damn.
like where obviously if you watch a lot of Aaron Sorkin films, like the characters go on this like mad I owned you monologue, like I owned you monologue, like you think of like The Social Network or whatever, and then Hugh's character almost became like, I told you. I told you niggas. And that's why I'm right. And that's why people are cursed. Sounds like Kendrick Lamar on Damn.
Yeah. Yeah, Huey. Yeah, man. I still
I
love
love him. It's my favorite character.
Yeah.
But like,
he jumped. It's him or Riley for me.
Yeah.
They kind of flip flop for me because I feel like Riley. I think if the show's perspective, the perspective of the show is Huey. Like what we're seeing with that perspective is always Riley.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that balance art, it's so cool. I could go into those characters forever.
Yeah,
but
forever.
Yeah.
But let's switch gears, man. We've mentioned his name earlier, man. J. Cole, man.
Damn.
J. Cole. No, I want to preface this. I'm not like out of the big three, J. Cole's second to me. He's always like number 2 in like.
It's the big 3, including Drake.
Yeah.
I guess.
I mean, okay.
Yeah,
in the traditional, no, because I know. Okay, in my Spotify rap, Drake's not there. Like I listen to Freddie Gibbs. Like, yeah. Like, I wanted the niggas like that. My friend Jake, be like, you don't listen to Drake. No, like I listen to Drake up to like Nothing Was the Same, and then
Take Care. Maybe you might catch me on Take Care.
Yeah, Take Care.
Yeah.
Young Drake, beardless Drake, yeah.
Fam, but this is
that's my
yeah. I get it. Hey man, you
but
got a lot of energy for Drake right now.
Hey man. Oh, because the nigga got stomped out, and I feel so vindicated. Like I like I will always like be a fan of that era of Drake, whatever edgelord bro he's formed into now. I don't fuck with it. I haven't like Jaded is one of the most pathetic songs I've ever heard.
Fam, I don't even listen to Drake like that. I ain't gonna lie.
Jaded is about Georgia Smith.
I probably heard of it, but I can't like think of it.
Like if I'd like one of the lyrics is like you old enough, but you still a baby, and it's just like I bear in mind the context was like George Smith was like 19, and it was like
wild.
yeah, because he was dating her like when George Smith just broke into the scene, and she was like either 19 or just turned 20.
He did have a thing with praying a bit, like it was a bit mad. Yeah,
he's a groomer.
I'm pretty sure there was even like a video I saw of him bringing like a 16-year-old girl on stage.
17-year-old on stage.
It's just he plays too much to that market, and he prays from that market, and it's messy.
No, because obviously I saw a stream of you and Foreign going in on Drake on J. Cole, and I was like, damn, what my nigga Cole do to you?
Okay, all right. You gotta understand, like most, I'm Nigerian. Let's open with that. Right? I think that's a good opening statement.
Yeah.
So a lot of my frustration ultimately stems from disappointment.
Okay.
Right? So J. Cole comes through in the scene. He is incredible. The come up, fam. He's dropping banger after banger after banger. I'm not sure how much you're watching WWE, but like, okay, cool. You don't get that. It's cool. That was like something Seamus said. But yeah,
Was it recent?
Yeah, it was recent.
Oh no.
But yeah, basically, he was dropping banger after banger after banger, right? And Forest Hill Drive came. Yeah, it was cool. You know, it was right. Yeah, like it was cold. Like he did.
Forest Hill Drive was just cool.
It was cool. Yeah.
Are you talking about Born Sinner or Forest Hills Drive?
I'm talking about Forest Hill Drive, man.
What the hell?
No, but not to say that album was bad. It's just that that's where it ended.
Fairs.
That's the full stop on the story.
Okay, fairs.
Like that's the full stop. Like, all right, cool. J. Cole was a good artist.
Yes.
You know what happened after that album for me?
Yeah.
It felt like he lost his hunger. It's like he wasn't hungry for it anymore. And the only time I see that hunger come out is in features.
Yeah.
It's early in the features.
That's fair.
And it feels like Born Sinner, it's like, all right, cool. What was it? All Eyes for Me?
Nah.
That
wasn't it. KOD weren't it for me.
KOD, I was listening to on the way here, right? because again, I wanted to kind of refamiliarize myself.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, let me make sure I'm not misjudging this man. Yeah, I probably, you know what I mean? HCM is like interesting. Kevin's Heart is interesting, but even still, like KOD wasn't it. You're competing with DiCaprio 2 from JID. You're competing with Pusha T with Daytona.
Yeah.
Fam, you weren't rapping at the level you were supposed to be rapping at. Now you want to do the fall off. Like, do you know what I mean?
The off-season, I did enjoy the off-season though.
Is the off season the fall off? Am I bugging out? Do you drop that after?
Yeah.
I don't think I've listened to that. But you see, that's how you lose people.
Yeah.
We dropped 4 albums that didn't do anything for me.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean?
No, that's fair. And for me with J. Cole, like, I think my issue was like, where's the feature J. Cole on the project?
Yeah, no. And
Where is that?
To me, I think when he comes on with another artist, right, he sees that, it's like, I got to show out. You get me? It's like that friend that kind of like when the girls come in the room, it's like, hey, he starts puffing out his chest.
Let me out top.
What are you doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how J. Cole strikes me when he comes on people's tracks. So it's like, he's cold, and I know he's cold. Like, here's the thing, no one can tell me that J. Cole is a bad rapper, and I wouldn't tell anybody that J. Cole is a bad rapper. But he disappointed me because I feel like he's not as hungry as he once was, which is fair. You know, he's busy, he's doing his thing, but I think that shows in the music.
Yeah, my interpretation of J. Cole isn't that he's hungry. Isn't hungry. I think he's stuck between two worlds. I think he wants to be Kendrick in terms of.
I get you.
I think he wants to, and that's what I kind of saw from projects like. For Your Eyes, I saw that, okay, I want to be more introspective because he made songs like Neighbours.
Yeah.
I want to be more introspective, but people don't love me like him. But also, I don't want to go back to Born Sinner, J. Cole, and make like basically Drake songs, like pop songs. And I feel like there was like a conflict of identity.
Even apparently, I felt was a bit. Anyway, go.
Yeah, I feel like with J. Cole, like he didn't know like which way to go, and it was kind of like he was giving us like Baby Kendrick or Baby Drake. It wasn't J. Cole.
And you know, I agree, and I think that lack of commitment shows. Yeah, you know, and as a result, I feel like a lot of man them that were looking for a certain version of Cole fell off, and I think a lot of people that like, you know, fell in love with some of his later stuff kind of slowly fell off because he was dipping his toes and everything. Yeah. KOD, to me, is a great example of that. The concept of that album is incredible. Yeah. Some of the ideas on that album are incredible. It just didn't hit. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just shit like, kids on drugs. Want to get ATM, is addicted to money. Yeah. Oh, okay, and you're rapping about like an addiction to money. You can flip. That should be a banger. Yeah. But it just wasn't. It just didn't. It's just like he didn't connect the dots. Yeah, he didn't connect. And I feel like I saw the board.
And that's like, the thing about J. Cole. It's like I see it. I see the potential because I'd say like just vocally, like he has the best voice. Like he's one of the best voices in hip hop. Just like vocally, just like rapping sonically, like his music's
when he's doing it.
When he's doing it, like he can rap, but it's just putting it all together, and that's kind of with J. Cole.
Does he produce all his beats?
And that's my issue. But that's part of the reason why I think he sounds better on feature because
low-key, I think he should outsource some of the production.
Sometimes, what happens is that when you're too hands-on with everything creatively, you lack that like that assistance from someone else. Sometimes you need the alley-oop. Sometimes you need someone to like give you the motif, give you something and inspire you.
You can teach yourself to do everything. Yeah. And that's great. Entrepreneurial, shout out to you, man. Yeah. But if something can be better or exactly the way you want it in your head, if you outsource or you go to someone else, do it. Yeah. Make something better with someone else than make something all right just on your own forever. Do you get me?
And that's the thing for me with J. Cole, like, and that's why his features stand out because he's got another artist, he's got another bro. Even some of the stuff he does on like the Dreamville compilation tapes.
No, I think that stuff is kind
of that stuff is hard, but it's a super collaborative effort. I think J. Cole wants to, and I commend him as an artist, but like you said, sometimes pass the ball. Yeah, pass the ball
because literally that year of 2018 was so pivotal for me, and I think it's how I just fell off J. Cole. Right, it was like, okay, yeah, the 2018 is pivotal. JID comes out with DiCaprio 2. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And that album, was incredible. Do you know what I mean? The production was incredible, etc. Again, Pusha T came out with Daytona. I'm pretty sure Kid See Ghost came out that year.
Yeah.
You, and it's this, and this is what leads me to feel like it's comfort. Like, you gotta understand, other niggas are hungry.
Yeah.
We all want to eat type beat, and not to say that like, you know, I'm not super capitalistic or this, that, and the third. But in terms of an industry where like we're looking at your capability and what you're putting out, like you can't be putting out a KOD next to Pusha T.
You can't.
Do you know what I mean?
But I feel like
they'll eat you alive.
But I feel like, but here's the thing I look at. I agree with you. The problem is, I think once you reach a certain level of like commercial viability, there's a sacrifice that a lot of artists make. For example, I remember during the Pusha T Drake beef, what was the copium that was going on? Who listens to Pusha T anyways?
Oh my days, man.
And I feel like that level of like locked in.
They try to do that to Kendrick too.
Try to do that to Kendrick, which is dumb, like
dumb.
Yeah. But I feel like that level of like, I feel like with artists of a certain ilk, and I'm not giving them an excuse, but sometimes they're concerned with, do I please the culture or do I please the masses? Do I make the most sanitized, commercially viable music that's gonna appease everyone, but it's not gonna be substantive in terms of appeasing the masses? And I'm not saying J. Cole is like a Drake where he does that, but I think there is a conversation in J. Cole's head where he's like,
I mean, there's a reason, and you kind of brought up this parallel really well, where it's like baby Kendrick, baby Drake.
Yeah.
Right? There's a reason that makes sense in my head. I'm like, he can kind of dance in between both of them.
Yeah.
But he doesn't fully commit. So he's not even like, you know. Obviously, I still think J. Cole's better than Drake. Let me
for sure.
But
Same
it's
here.
more like, I'm not gonna say he's not on that level, but like, you know, like, how do I word it? Like, I wanted to big up a Drake song, but I was like, you know, sorry.
I'll say this right now in this part of Drake's career, Drake's makes content, not music for me. He makes content in terms of, I'm going to dish out something, but I'm going to dish out like, okay.
Oh, you mean like his 60-track album?
Yeah,
he's just finding the banger.
Not even that.
Like,
in terms of, what I mean Drake makes content, not music, I mean, Drake is always making, okay, what piece of art can I make to keep me hot in the moment? Rather than a concerted effort to make a body of work. He's making stuff, okay, I'm gonna throw it out there. This gonna hold them over till next year.
And this feeds into him jumping on different trends.
Exactly.
And like what Kendrick was talking about.
Drake wants to be hyper visible. It's about hyper visibility. Is that my name is never out of the conversation.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if...
My brother used to call him Goku, but I'm not sure how much I agree with that.
Nah, I don't agree. He's just there. He's just a nigga that shows up. He's Shinron. He's just gonna be popping up out of nowhere. Like, I'm here. I may not, and for me, Drake is very much comfortable. He may not be the best at something, but he wants to be the face of something.
Yeah,
so
I can see that.
When dancehall was like super big, in like mid 2010s, what does he do?
Nah, he
does it. When drill's getting popping,
when he dropped on drill, I said nah. I can see it now.
And a lot of people, and what will happen is, and there's obviously the Drake stimulus package, what will happen is that people start people who aren't like active consumers of that genre will always associate their entry point to that genre
with Drake.
And
And so because of that, that's what...
It keeps him alive. It keeps him in the conversation.
It started with me listening to that Drake song. Yeah, like, I get you.
It started, oh my God. And that's how Drake keeps cachet.
Yeah.
Rather than like... And that's why Drake hasn't enthused me in recent years. Drake will always, for me, I'll never say Drake's a bad artist and he always has like bangers, but the projects have sucked.
Yeah.
For a long time, they've sucked.
I mean, yeah, like, because he doesn't make those anymore.
What's
really?
Certified Lover Boy? People don't talk about that project. People don't talk about For the Dots because the projects are arse. There's moments. And that's what the projects are full of. They're just moments. They're full of, okay, this was a moment here, surrounded by mediocre.
Yeah, no, I mean, Drake just drops like hit. People just think of Drake dropping hits, dropping singles. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, no one's really. But I remember there was a period of time where I was like, I'm gonna try to listen to Drake albums. Right? I'm gonna try to listen to the Drake stuff, right? And there was a certain point where I was sat and I was staring down like an intimidating 35 to 40 track list. And I said, you know what? No.
Yeah.
I just turned off the thing. 'Cause it's
Yeah. I guess for me, it's just like, yeah, and obviously, like, I know some people be in the comments saying, "Oh my god, you lot are Kendrick Glazers." Like, yeah,
I mean, he lost.
he lost.
Yeah, you don't know what to
He lost.
say. He lost.
He lost,
and that's not even like a conversation. Like, it's just, is it really glazing to say like Drake lost categorically?
Nah, but name 10 Kendrick songs. I can very easily.
I could probably name all the songs off an album.
Yes,
you know what I mean.
I could go album for album.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, that's not
really a conversation. Like, let's not do that. But
yeah, you're exposing yourself.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Like, you're showing your ass.
Because for me, I'm like, you're not a hip hop fan. Like,
yeah, no.
You're not a hip hop fan.
What do you mean? Name 10 Kendrick songs? Like, what do you like?
Do you know what it is? I feel like the minimalization of Kendrick's career is hilarious. Like, he did not make All the Stars, which was like the soundtrack to Black Panther, which is like one of the highest
2018,
grossing,
by the way.
2018.
KOD, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like literally, and the whole myth. I want to dispel the myth of the inconsistency of Kendrick, because I hate in terms of like release schedule. The only massive break he took was from Damn to Mr. Morale. Before that, the nigga dropped cool. I'm gonna get some of the dates wrong by a year, but fuck it.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Section 80. What?
Section
11.
11. Yeah.
Good Kid, Mad City, 2012.
Yeah. Paper Butterfly was 2014, wasn't it?
2015.
Ah, okay.
Because I'm a Reciprocal 2015. Untitled Unmastered.
Yeah, that was cold.
2016.
Yeah.
Damn. 2017.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Black Panther.
2018. Yeah, you know what? Fair.
That's 6 projects.
You know what? Yeah, you know, he makes a good point.
That is 6 projects.
He makes a good point.
What are we talking about?
He makes a good point. I ain't gonna lie.
He just left from Damn to Mr. Morale. But that is 6 projects. And the thing is, people might say, oh my God, why are you counting
what, the Black Panther album?
Black Panther album. Cool. King's Dead was on the Black Panther album.
King's Dead was cold.
And everyone was going, da-dee-da-dee-da, slab-a-bee-da. That was from the album. All the Stars, which was literally the end credit scene to the highest grossing movie that year, was on that album. It counts in terms of releasing. So the myth that Kendrick don't drop, I want to dispel it right now. He drops.
I agree. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. You made that point perfectly. I don't even know if I have something to add to that. Like, you made that point succinctly.
Because obviously because of the Super Bowl shit, like that shit's trending. But moving away from music, man. Before talk to me about Sonic, man. Because I've been seeing you've been making, and I wanted to acknowledge that, man. You've been making hella Sonic content, and for me, like, Sonic was my like favorite like video game character like growing up as a kid. Like, I was always a Sonic over Mario type of person.
Same.
Yeah. My first introduction to Sonic was like obviously Sonic Heroes. I got that with my PS2.
Everyone's Sonic Heroes.
Yeah, Sonic Heroes. Like, it came with the bundle with the PS2, and then obviously I went back, and then Sonic X was airing on Jetix. And then
they had the marketing. So
oh my!
They slapped Sonic X in front of our screens. They gave us Sonic Adventure 2 on GameCube. Then they dropped bare PS2 titles,
bare PS2, but
bare DS titles, bare PSP titles.
But
they were in.
Yeah,
people forget how. Nah.
What Sonic in the early 2000s? And bro, it wasn't just that. You made a point in your video. There was a different Sonic. There was Sonic, anime Sonic, Sonic X.
Yeah.
Liberation Leader Sonic Underground.
Saturday, there was the musical Sonic.
Yeah.
Sonic Underground, right? And then there's the Looney Tunes Sonic.
Yeah.
They were selling Sonic back to, even when Sonic Boom dropped, right? And they were like, yeah, man, we're doing a new show.
Bro, we had Sonic games at McDonald's, bro.
Yeah, fam.
Them little Sonic games at McDonald's, bro.
I think I had one with like Cream, or I might have had Knuckles basketball.
I had Shadow and Knuckles.
Yeah. I remember I had one of those games. They're called. I wish I still had them. It was like the and what you said about like Sonic not being tied down to one piece of iconography, because there was like Sonic being a skateboarder in Sonic Riders, like like I feel like that video, like the multiple videos you made on Sonic about like how it just reminded me how much of a pop culture phenomenon that character was. But like, what is your favorite Sonic game? That's a loaded question.
Yeah.
I'll give 2 answers, 2D and 3D. I think 3D is a toss-up between Sonic Adventure 1, like the first Sonic Adventure game, or Sonic Unleashed. I think those are the 2 I toss up. 2D, it jumps all the time. I could say Sonic Rush, I could say Sonic 2, I could say Sonic Mania. But I'll give it to Sonic Rush. Yeah.
Sonic Unleashed is interesting because as a kid, I liked the Werehog missions, but going back now,
You're like, yeah.
the Sonic Speed missions.
Yeah.
Oh, they're so fire.
They're so fire.
They're so fire. I feel like that's the best, like in terms of like controller movement that Sonic's had in like 3D.
I loved it. I wouldn't say it's the best control, but just in terms of the scale, like in terms of the worlds, the way they did it was just so cold. Like Sonic, I think people forget, and that was kind of a point of that video, right? Sonic has done so much stylistically. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So even if you're say an indie creator, so like myself, like I was inspired with Sonic when I was making my game, for instance, right? And so like Sonic, because Sonic has done so much stylistically, right? There's always a version of the brand that can and could appeal to you. And it's really interesting. Yeah. Like again, like he's turned into a werehog. He's got the sword. He did the Looney Tunes thing. What's it called? I think they did like a storybook Arabian Nights thing at one point. So they do bears.
Before we go, obviously you mentioned that you're developing a video game. Tell us briefly how you got into video game development and what you're creating right now.
Oh yeah, damn. What's it called? How I got into it. I wanted to tell like a story, right? I was into Sonic. I was into Ace Attorney, like these visual novel kind of games, right? And then with time, I was like, oh yeah, I want to make a game, right? And it evolved, and originally it was like a detective kind of story, and it evolved into, you know what, I actually kind of want to make something more grounded, like that's kind of set in Lewisham, so near where I am, right? And you know, make it about like kind of the Black British like lens on the world, the Black British experience, right? So the game is called NIXIE, right? And it's like it was funded on Kickstarter like 2 years ago, and we've been like tucking away at it and working on it, and it's been really cool, man. Like it's cool because you get to kind of explore people's minds. You get to talk about like some of the things we're even talking about on the pod, like, you know, like cultural things that, you know, speak to like what we're going through and our own experiences from like from something as simple as like Caribbean culture versus, you know, Nigerian culture, so to speak, or something as minute as like how schooling institutions kind of they kind of make us very uniform, and so that because of that, a lot of us like outside school, right, find ourselves wearing the same thing. Like everybody's got the black night tech, for instance. Every black girl I know has like the one puffer jacket. Like, and so there's things that we can comment on and say. And I think with the game, that's kind of part of my way of doing that. So it's kind of like a mix of some of the games I've been growing up on, and obviously that Boondocks socio-political commentary.
Yeah, for sure, man.
There's like loaded stuff, but it's cold. I'm excited.
Nah, man. You're doing a lot of things, but you got your hands in different pots, man. You got your hands in different pots, man.
Yeah, man. I hope so. I mean, I hope it's gonna be worth it someday, because like obviously it's big project. You know, I'm trying to like showcase it to more people. For sure.
So, Send me a link to the Kickstarter. I'll put it in the comment section below. But David, man, it's been a pleasure having you on, man.
No problem.
It's been a pleasure having you on, man. Tell the people where they can find you at your social media and stuff.
Damn. Let's see. I hope I remember all of this. Obviously, you can find me on YouTube, The Storyteller. You can find me on Twitter as The Soul Minded. You can follow NIXIE, my Black British video game, on Twitter again. It's NIXIE_game. And if you want to support Free Huey Food, the Free Huey Food Bank, or my channel, or anything I'm doing, you can either donate to me on Ko-Fi, again, that's at The Soul Minded, or Patreon, at The Soul Minded, again. So yeah,
no, I appreciate.
I feel like that was the YouTube mode. I had to turn that on.
Yeah. You gotta turn on this. You gotta turn on the promotional.
Yeah, turn on the promotional button. Yeah. So I'm this.
Yeah. But nah, man, I appreciate.
Cool.
I really appreciate you coming on to the show. Like, if it was, you know what it is. Like I always say, like I was a fan of your work, and I'm still a fan of your work. So it feels good to like chop up with someone like whose content I really respect and admire in it. So like, I appreciate coming on, man.
I appreciate that all the same. And honestly, what you've got set up here is cold.
Yeah.
I'm excited to. I'll plug it. Honestly, it's cold. Like, this is cold. I like
definitely, man, definitely. Yeah. But make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, TikTok, road to 10K on TikTok. Please help us get to 10K.
Yeah, do
it. Follow us. We are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and various other streaming platforms. But yeah, make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Keep that engagement going. This has been the Rare Podcast. We are signing out. Deuces. Catch you on the next one. Peace.